Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Parr, and on this episode of Math Up to Par, we are going to be talking about comparing fractions. And when we compare fractions, we are going to use a strategy that I like to call cookies and kids. And when I say cookies and kids, I mean cookies and kids. Okay, so these are our cookies and these are our kids. And so I've got a fraction problem right here. I've got 5/9 compared to 7/8. Well, I'm going to think about my numerator as the number of cookies, okay? And I'm going to think about my denominator as my number of kids. And this is the number of cookies that I have to share with the kids. Well, over here I have 5 cookies, just like my numerator, and I have 9 kids. And then this picture over here matches the 7 cookies in my numerator and the 8 kids in my denominator. I have to decide, since I love cookies, I personally would rather be in this group over here because it looks like there are less kids sharing more cookies than there are over here. This group of 9 kids has to share 5 cookies, so I'm thinking they're going to get smaller pieces than this group over here. So what that tells me is that this fraction is greater than this fraction. The reason why that works is because I'm thinking about fractions like division problems, because fractions are division problems. That line in between is a dividing line. When you are dividing, you are splitting something up and sharing it fairly. So that's what we're doing with the cookies. We're dividing those up and we're sharing them fairly. If you have more cookies to share with less people, each person will get more, so the fraction is greater, okay? That's like we saw over here. More cookies with less people than over here. But if you have less cookies to share fairly with more people, each person's going to get less. So that fraction will be less. So let's look at another example. Here we have 3/4 compared to 4/7. Well, I see that 3 cookies are right here shared between 4 people. And there are 4 cookies here shared amongst 7 people. And when I look at these two groups of kids, I'm easily able to think, oh my goodness, this group of kids is not going to nearly have as many pieces or as big of pieces as cookies as the group over here. So just by looking at this, I can see that 3/4 is greater than 4/7. Now you might wonder, could you do this with mixed numbers? Let's see. So we have 1 and 3/5 compared to 1 and 1/6. Well, how do I show that? Well, what I would need to do is I would need to take these fractions and turn them into improper fractions. So over here, 1 and 3/5, this one whole is representative of 5/5, right? So 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. So this fraction over here is 8/5. And this fraction over here is 7/6. So this fraction is equal to this fraction, and this fraction is equal to this fraction. When I'm looking at that, I'm seeing that there are 8 cookies to share with 5 students. Ooh, there's more cookies than students. So each kid is going to get a little bit over 1 whole, whereas in the other problems, they were getting less than a whole. So this group looks like they've got it pretty good. They've got a lot of cookies to share with 5 of them. And then over here, it's still a better situation than the other problems previous, but there are 6 of them and there are 7 cookies. So it looks like between the two, this group is going to end up better because there's more cookies to share amongst them. And I want more cookies. So I would rather be one of the kids in this group. So I can easily see that this fraction is greater. Now, let's say that you came across this problem. You might wonder how you would show your work with the cookies and kids strategy. So what I would do is I would look at my numerator. My numerator is my number of cookies. So for this fraction, I have 2 cookies. My denominator is my number of children. So I'm going to draw 3 kids. Okay, I'm just drawing stick figures, so no matter how you are as an artist, you can draw those, and I just draw circles for my cookies. And then over here, I'm going to draw 3 cookies for my numerator, shared amongst 8 children. Okay, and this is how I'm showing my work. This is an alternative to the strategy of cross multiplication. Cross multiplication can be a great way to check your thinking and to make sure, but with this method, I can visualize, okay, if I am sharing cookies fairly, clearly this group is getting more cookies than over here. So that tells me that 2/3 is in fact greater than 3/8. Okay, guys? So that is how you would use the cookies and kids methods to compare fractions. Thanks so much for listening and happy practicing. Bye.